Hello, have a nice day to all of you. Today we are going to... first we will look at what is an ecosystem. Ecosystem is the place where the organisms interacting with each other and also organisms interact with physical environment. It means biotic or living factor are interacting with each other. Other than these, living factor also interact with abiotic or non-living factor. So this is an self-supporting and distinct place. When think about ecosystem, it may be small or large. As example, it may be small as a pond-like system, or it may be large system like rainforest such as Sinharaja, Amazon, or maybe large river or mangrove swamp. So this is an idea of ecosystem. Then we will move to the what are the components of the ecosystem. Normally there are two types like biotic components and abiotic components. The living components of an ecosystem are called the biotic components. In biotic components, it includes producers, consumers, decomposers. Normally when think about the producers, plants are the primary producers which do photosynthesis to produce food. And the consumers are the animals that eat plants or other animals. When think about the decomposers are the organisms that break down dead materials and they recycle nutrients. Then we will move to the abiotic components. Abiotic components are the non-living components or the physical components. The example for the abiotic components are climatic factors like temperature, relative humidity, rainfall, or other components like soil, air, and water content. Then we will look at some important terms regards to the ecosystem. First we will look at what you mean by habitat. Habitat is the place where an organisms live. So it may be a bottom of the pond, surface of the water, it may be on top of the tree, or it may be a roots of the tree, any sort of thing. So that's we call the habitat. So then we will look at what is population. So the population is all the organisms of a particular species found in an ecosystem at a certain time. So it may be a plant, or it may be animals, or it may be any other sort of organisms of a particular species. As example, you can say all Dandelion plants in a grassland, all water lily plants in a pot, all tadpole population in a pot. Like those are the examples for the population. So then we will see what do you mean by the community. The community is the population of all species found in an ecosystem at a particular time. So it may be all plants, animals, or other organisms in a particular ecosystems. As example, it may be all the plants, animals, or other organisms in a pond ecosystem, or maybe a rainforest ecosystem, or it may be a ocean ecosystem. In these slides, it's talk about the biotic and the abiotic factor. In a previous slide, so I talked with you about the biotic and the abiotic factors. Biotic factors are the living components and the abiotic factors are the non-living components. Then we will take one example of ecosystem and see what are the biotic and the abiotic factors. Assume it's a pond ecosystem. What are the biotic factors in a pond ecosystem? Those are snails, planktons, rooted plants, tadpoles. And when think about the abiotic factors, it may be soil, water, sunlight, dissolved air like oxygen, carbon dioxide. So then we will move how we can count the number of organisms in an habitat. So assume if we want to know how many organisms there are in a particular habitat, so it is not possible to count them all. So what we have to do is we have to use a small representative part of the population. So we call them as a sample. Normally sampling of plants and animals can be used by a sampling square called quadruped. Quadruped is usually made from a metal, wood or plastic. The size of a quadruped it may be depend on the size of the organism being sampled. Normally for school field practicals we can use quadruped with sides of 0.5 or 1 meter in length. So important criteria when we are using quadruped is sampling in an area is carried out at random. It means it should be done at a random way to avoid bias. So how do we do this sampling as a random way? So what we have to do is we have to generate the random numbers. It can use the random number function on a calculator. So these numbers, then we can use them as the coordinates to position the quadruped large area or the large sphere that we are selected. So then we will move to the practical to compare the plant population in two areas using this quadruped. So what we are going to do is we have to select two areas which we'll name as X and Y, and we have to compare the dandelion population in these two areas. But we have to remember the X area, the condition of the X area is it is more trampled than the Y area. So we can generate a hypothesis when think about the X area, it has a fewer dandelion population than the area Y. So in this practical we have to confirm this hypothesis whether it is correct or not. So first what we have to do is we have to collect the data from X and Y areas separately by placing the quadruped in random places. So how we choose these random places? We have to generate the random numbers using the random number function in calculator and use them as the coordinates to place the quadruped. So after that what we are going to do is we have to compare those two areas, the dandelion population in these two areas using the mean number of dandelions which is present in a per square meter. So when we think about the observations, what we have done is we have collected data from different places in separately for X area and Y area by placing the quadruped in random 10 places. After that what we have done is we have calculated the mean value or mean number of population separately for the X area and the Y area. So when think about the mean value, value for dandelion population is for the X area is 4.5, while the mean value for the dandelion population in Y area is 11.1. So we can say dandelion population in Y area is higher than the dandelion population in the X area. So we can say that the hypothesis that we have generated previously is correct, because what is the hypothesis that we have generated is fewer number of dandelion population in X area than the Y area. Why is that? Because X area is more trampled than the Y area. So we can say hypothesis is correct. It means number of dandelion plants which is present in the Y area is higher than the dandelion population in the X area. So then we will move how we can measure the biodiversity in two communities using this quadruped. So first of all we will look at what is the term of biodiversity. Normally the biodiversity means the amount of variation shown by species in an ecosystem. So that's the definition of biodiversity. And when think about the biodiversity, to fulfill the term of biodiversity, there should be have the two components or two criteria. So the first one is it should have the number of different species present. So it means the richness of species should be there. And the second one is relative abundance of each species. It means even as numbers of different species should be there. It means these two criteria it needs to term the to fulfill the term of the biodiversity. What is that? The first one is it should have the richness of species, and also it should have the even of numbers of species. So those two criteria should be there. So then we will move to the practical regards biodiversity. So what we have to do in here is we have to select two communities and community 1 and community 2, and we have to calculate the number of organisms in a different species in two communities. So we have to calculate the number of in different species in two communities. So then we have to insert these data into a table, and we have to compare those data of these two communities. So when we think about the observations in relates to these practicals, altogether, when if we add all these species together, it means species A, B, C, D, E, the total number is 50 in community 1 and community 2. Altogether, it has got 50 organisms in both two communities. But when think about the evenness of numbers in species, community 1 it has got evenness of numbers in species, because for each species it has got 10 number of organisms. But when think about the community 2, for species E it has got about 46 number of organisms, whilst others got only one number of organisms. It means for A, B, C, D it has got only one number of organisms. So the evenness of numbers in species in community 2 is low. So when think about the biodiversity, because of this criteria, the biodiversity is high in community 1 than the community 2. So this is how we can measure the number of organisms or richness of biodiversity in a particular ecosystem using quadrant. So when think about the normally biodiversity, so biodiversity is a good parameter to express the condition in an ecosystem. So when think about the ecosystem with the high biodiversity, normally it is a more stable than the ecosystem with the low biodiversity. Why we call it is less stable when think about the ecosystem with low biodiversity is normally ecosystem with the low biodiversity is dominated by one or a few number of species. So disease is more likely to be affected by any sort of ecological disaster. For example, if we assume if it is a new disease type will be arise, so what happened? These dominant types of prey species can be wiped out, so can be removed from the ecosystem. So this would be badly impact on the species. It means some may be an animal or it may be another type of organisms who are fed on these, but that particular type of dominant tree species. So sometimes they may be fed on these trees for shelter or food. So, but when think about the ecosystem with the high biodiversity, it is more dense with the species. It means it has many number of tree species. So these tree species, if one become wiped away from the ecosystems, what these other tree species done? They can supply these resources, I mean food or shelter, for the particular type of animals or particular type of who are fed on these tree species who had wiped out. So that's the use of the ecosystem with the high biodiversity. So then we will move to the interactions which is in the ecosystem. So when think about interactions in ecosystems, organisms in an ecosystem interacted with each other, and sometimes these organisms are interacting with physical environment even. It means sometimes biotic factor, it means the living organisms, they are interacting with each other. Sometimes it may be for a feeding relationships or any sort of things, or sometimes this biotic factor, I mean this living factor, is going to interact with the physical environment even for having some requirements for their survival. So we will look at what are the interactions which is in the ecosystem. The first one is feeding relationship. Feeding relationships among the organisms. So when think about the feeding relationships, normally the plants, animals and decomposers. So all these three types, they are normally interacting with each other for their feeding styles. So after they are fed with each these levels, what happens? They when they get died, they are continually recycle the nutrients in the ecosystems. So this is the idea of the feeding relationship among the organisms. The next relationship is competition among the organisms. Normally the animals compete with their other species of animals for their food, shelter, sometimes for finding mates, or sometimes finding nesting sites, or any sort of thing. So other than the animals, plants also compete for their supplying the carbon dioxide, mineral ions, it means for the nutrients, and the light, water, or any other, it may be sunlight or any sort of a requirement. They are also getting competing with other plant species. So then we will move to the third type of interactions. It means interaction between organism and the environment. Normally when think about the plants, plants normally absorb mineral ions, and also they absorb carbon dioxide and water from the environment for their biochemical process called photosynthesis. And also plants give some water vapors and oxygen into the environment. So when think about the water vapor, through the respiration process, they supply water vapor to the environment and oxygen into the environment through the process of photosynthesis. But other than plants, animals also use some materials from the environment, such as to build up some shelters and fuels. And other than this, temperature of the environment also affect the processes occurring in the organisms. So normally temperature is very much need to happen the biochemical pathways of an organism. So this temperature factor, it is very much important for survival of the organisms. But other than this, other way around, the processes occurring in organisms can also affect the temperature of the environment. So it means when think about the organisms, they produce some heats through their respiration process. So it is eventually influence for the temperature which is presence in the environment. So likewise, the organisms, plants, maybe animals or other organisms, they can interact with the environment for supplying their requirements for their survival. So that's all about the presentation regarding the ecosystem.